Make sure you check the description for any articles. Come to your own conclusion, think for yourself. But one thing that kind of, comes up time and time again that really gets on my nerves is just the way that Democrats, in my opinion, treat African Americans or talk about African Americans in just such a way that it seems it's so monolithic that I think it ignores the nuances that African Americans express as individuals. And I think it's a part of identity politics that I think is very negative to African American people who want to step out of those narrow lines that are kind of drawn out for them. And there's a policing of, what you can and cannot say if you're African American based off of this party. And I don't think that's liberating for African Americans at all. As we've seen Kanye, or I know Chance the Rapper in the past, it said, it's okay to be not a Democrat. And this is something that I think isn't talked about enough, but I don't think it's fair that just because of the color of their skin, they can't vote the way they want to without being seen as almost a race traitor, where there's this levying of identity politics against somebody, and it just doesn't seem fair that this is the kind of action that's taken against people just based off of their race. I think it's interesting because, and you can look at it, it's clear as crystal. You look at Thomas Sowell, Candace Owens, but more importantly, you look at just people even on the national stage. Look at how Obama was treated by just from the get-go, just based off the color of skin as an African American candidate, versus how Ben Carson was treated as just based off of policy aside, just based off being African American. It doesn't seem fair to me that just because one person's wearing a red tie versus a blue tie, and based off of the color of their skin, is really going to dictate how we're treating somebody in the public eye. And does that make them, I don't like that it makes you a race traitor to vote based on the way you want to vote. I think it's a bunch of baloney that the Republican Party is a party of racists, and that the Democratic Party is somehow this feel-good, everyone gets along party, because I think it's on the Democratic far left side, not more moderate, but far left side, that you see a lot of these attacks coming from. And you'll have, white and Latino people, or people of other, ethnicities, even the same ethnicity, criticizing somebody based off of the color of their skin. Or just talked about. I just don't like that African Americans are just talked about in such a way that it's just a given that they'll vote Democrat, as in there's some inherent good in the Democratic Party. And that's something you have to give the Democratic Party for branding themselves in that manner. But there's a lot of Republicans that don't think have any animus towards African American people at all. And I think it's just kind of insane to imply, one, that they do, but that two, that African American people who are more conservative, maybe in their social life or in their economic thought, are some type of self-hating individual. I think we're at a point, or we should be at a point, where this isn't an issue anymore, because I think with the internet, we all are able to connect with many different types of people, many different types of viewpoint. And regardless of whether you live in a, predominantly one demographic type of area where it's more homogeneous, you can still meet people online or see somebody's videos or get somebody else's opinion of a differing race or background and see that they're just as human as you. So I think the type of thought, and I think this is a beautiful, advent of the internet, because otherwise you wouldn't be able to disprove it. But I do not like how African American people are kind of shoehorned politically into being assumed to be Democrat. I think and I think this is prejudicial to assume based off of someone's race that they must think this way. If they do think that way, and that's perfectly fine. And that's not really what I'm saying. It's that if somebody is African American and, and and comes out as and once comes out as conservative, that they're not attacked as some type of race traitor.